Okay. Okay, today we're going to do chapter 3, which is developing your literacy skills. So we're going to talk about how to identify the elements of a complete prescription order, apply calculation operations and handling prescription orders. These are our learning objectives. Recognize the elements of a medication label and apply calculation operations to information on the medication labels. So you have, of course, what we're going to go over on the elements of the prescription order are the requirements, of course, that are required on all prescription orders. So they're going to be patient information, prescriber information, drug designation, and quality to dispense. So the requirements on, of course, prescriptions are going to vary from state to state, but these will be the ones that are found on every prescription. Okay, so a prescription order is an order or mixture of medications by a practitioner to be filled by a pharmacist. So it's going to be your job, though, as the pharmacy technician to interpret the prescription correctly. So, which would include like interpreting the SIGs or the abbreviations, knowing the correct directions. If there are any calculations that need to be performed that are necessary to fill it correctly, you need to perform those as well. So a prescription is an order for medication. A prescription has standard parts. Depending on if it is hospital or pharmacy, it will contain a little bit different. Some orders may require calculations, of course, by the pharmacy, like such as day supply, metric quantity, things of that nature. If you have a compound you may have to mix, you may have to do additional calculations for that as well. Also for uh, IV piggybacks, you may need to, just some examples of some that you may need to do some calculations. So your prescription, of course, is an order for medication for a patient that is written by a physician or a qualified licensed practitioner to be filled by a pharmacist. Okay, this is showing you the elements of a prescription order that may be dropped off at a community pharmacy. So if you look here, you have the name of the patient, Nanny Romez, her address, uh, the date of the prescription, the DEA number, and remember, DEA numbers have to be listed if it is a controlled substance medication. The drug name, and of course the drug dose is 100 micrograms. The dose is also take 1 tablet by mouth every morning. So by mouth would be the route of administration, and the dose would be take 1 tablet of the 100 micrograms. Quantity is 30. Um, Doctor is M. Yang. Okay, and the number of refills says 5 times. If this is left blank, it is 0 refills. Okay. But just to let you know on here, so if you was to look at this, sometimes just that you may have to do day supply, metric quantity. Of course, your metric quantity is going to be your 30 tablets, but the day supply is how long would that last? If they're only taking 1 tablet once a day in the mornings, then it's going to last them 30 days. So just the way to look at the prescription as you're reading it. Also, too, if you notice that the doctor did not put the patient's date of birth on here, so when the patient drops off the medication, you want to verify her name and ask for the date of birth and add it in for the physician because that's very helpful when trying to find a patient in the computer. This is showing you the elements of a prescription order of a hospital order. They are a little bit different because they can put more than one drug on an order, whereas in the community pharmacy, they are all, in the Virginia, they're only allowed to put 1 prescription on each paper. Okay, so but in the hospital on the medication or prescription order, they can put more than 1. So that one's dilating 300 milligrams by mouth daily as needed in afternoon or evening. Valium 2 milligrams by mouth twice a day as needed. Okay, so if you noticed here, they have the 2 prescriptions on here. It is going to the hospital pharmacy to be processed. So you have, of course, the doctor's name and the nurse's name that's in charge. the date and time. If you notice, the date and time is on here when it was written. Then we of course have the patient information up here. Has the patient's name, date of birth, address, um, number, and so we have everything. They also have their height and weight and their known allergies. Okay. So you can see a little bit of the difference from the hospital prescription order then versus the community pharmacy prescription order. So every prescription order, of course, must have the patient information, and it must include items that are going to be used to uniquely identify that patient. Is that patient was the person that it was intended for. Okay, so you have make sure the patient's name, first and last name is on there. You don't want a first name and the last name initial. You want the first and last name, the age of the person. Usually we'll use the date of birth for that. Allergy information, any allergies at all. Weight of the person as well. Okay. Also, you want to add on here, of course, the patient's address. Okay, so most states actually require, if it is an outpatient prescription, most states require the outpatient prescriptions to include the patient address. So you need the street, city, and the state. Okay, some require height and weight. We have weight on here, but you may want to require height. Okay, and again, this book, pretty much kind of tells you everything. So some require height and weight in order to calculate and check for the right dosages as well. So you have, of course, a safety note here. So the appropriate unit should always be indicated with each number. So when they write it for Synthroid 100 micrograms, the unit would be micrograms. So you always want to make sure that that is on that, because many medications will can come in different strengths and different units as well, which would make it a different strength. Also, with the patient's weight, there is a big difference in kilograms and pounds with weight. So 100 kilograms is going to be completely different than 100 pounds. So you want to make sure that the doctor always specifies if it is kilograms or pounds, or if he's referring to a medicine, milligrams versus micrograms. If it is not on there, never assume. You should call the doctor back to verify that information. Prescriber information, of course, that is needed on prescriptions are going to be the address, of course, of the prescriber or doctor, name, first and last name, authority. So is he a medical doctor? Is he a doctor of osteopathy? Is it a nurse practitioner? You need to know the authority of the person. Also remember that the DEA number are required to issue a prescription that is going to be a controlled substance. So the DEA numbers are issued, of course, by that Drug Enforcement Administration, and the DEA, of course, is an agency of federal government and signifies the authority of that holder to prescribe or handle controlled substances. There are some prescribers that are not allowed to prescribe controlled substances. So you want to be aware of that and make sure that if it is a controlled substance, that it does have the DEA number on there. And of course, your term to remember what a DEA number is. So it is a number issued by the Drug Enforcement DEA to signify the authority of the holder to prescribe or handle controlled substances, and it is made up of 2 letters. Okay, so the first 2 parts are going to be 2 letters followed by 7 digits. The last, which is the checksum digit used to check if the DEA number is valid. So just to give you an example, we may have, oops, I'll just put A, G, and then I'm just put 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. I'm just going to do a fake one there. But if you notice here, the A can indicate the first letter, let me put it this way, the first letter, but not always, but can designate, of course, the type or of authority the holder has. The last letter is going to refer to, this might be like doctor, Brad, I'll put Brad, green. So the last letter always refers to the first letter of his last name. Okay, so when checking for if the DEA is valid. Okay, then we will also do another calculations to determine if it's valid or invalid as well. And that is, you're going to add the first, third, and fifth digits of the DEA number, add the second, fourth, and sixth digits of the DEA number. Second step. Third step is multiply the sum of step 2 by 2, and then add the results of step 1 and 3. The digit of the sum should match the checksum digit and the last digit of the DEA number. So, a DEA number, of course, with an incorrect checksum digit is invalid. And I'm going to go through these steps in just a few minutes to kind of show you how to do it. A valid checksum digit does not make a DEA number valid because you do have to make sure, of course, that the abbreviations are correct in the first part of it. It does help to know that it is valid, but a valid checksum digit does not always make a DEA number valid because some people may just know how to do that and make it, make a fake one look real. So we'll have in the pharmacy a way to look up the DEA numbers of the doctors if there is any question. So the checksum digit calculation is necessary but not sufficient condition for to check to make sure the DEA number is valid. So I'm going to do one here for you. We're going to call him Dr. Johnson. I think this one was out of your book. It says his DEA number is BJ234567 8. Okay, so if you know it right offhand, the J matches his last name. Okay. Step 1, what you're going to do is you're going to add the first, third, and the fifth. So 2 plus 4 plus 6. Oops, sorry. And that equals 12. Then you're going to step 2, and the ones in between it, 3, 5, and 7, you're going to add those together. Equals 15. Then for step 3, what you're going to do is you're going to take 15 from step 2, and you're going to multiply it by 2. And that's going to equal 30. And then step 4, what you do is you take your sum of step 3 and your sum of step 1 and add them together. So 30 plus 12 equals 42. So if you notice here, the checksum is 8 in his DEA number. So 8 is, and the last sum of your step 4 is a 2. So this is invalid. It is not valid prescription. So just to kind of give you some more practice here, you have another one. And this is on page 62 in your book. Ann Johnson, her number is MJ 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1. So write down your steps here. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. So in step 1, you're going to add the first, third, and fifth. So I circle those just so I don't pick the wrong one as I'm putting them down here. So 3 plus 5 plus 7 is going to equal 15. Then the ones in between, which will be your second, fourth, and sixth. So 4 plus 6 plus 8 equals 18. Again, take your step 2, multiply it by 2. So 18 times 2 should be 36. Then you're going to take your sum of step 3 and your sum of step 1 and add them together. So it'll be 36 plus 15 is 51. So your checksum is on her DEA number is 1, and your checksum on your step 4 is 1. So that would make it valid. Another example would be Dr. James Collins. This is number 1 on page 67. So if it's JC 2169870. Step 1, I'm going to do S1. Step 2, be S2. Step 3, S3. Step 4, S4. So step 1 would be 2 plus 6 plus 8 equals 16. Okay, so you're taking the first, third, and the fifth. Okay, so you see what I've done. Okay, then you're going to take the 1 and add it to the 9 and the 7, which would be the second, fourth, and sixth. So 1 plus 9 plus 7 would be 17. Step 3, you're going to take step 2 answer, multiply it by 2. That should equal 34. In step 4, you're going to add your sum of step 3 to your sum of step 1. So it'll be 16 plus 34 equals 50. Okay, your checksum for step 4 is the 0. Does it match the last number of the checksum for the DA number? And it does, so this would be valid. Okay. Just another example to have some more practice. Number 2 on page 67. We're going to do the one for Laura Green, MG 3081659. So step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So step 1, you're going to take the first, third, and the fifth. So 3 plus 8 plus 6 equals 17. Then the second, fourth, and the sixth. So 0 plus 1 plus 5 equals 6. You're going to take your sum of step 2 and multiply for step 3 and multiply it by 2. 6 times 2 is 12. You're going to take your step 1 and your step 3 and you're going to add those together for step 4. So 17 plus 12 equals 29. And your last number in step 4 of the sum is called the checksum. So 9 matches the last number in the checksum of her DA number. So 9 and 9. So this would make this one valid as well. So I hope that gives you plenty of practice on the first section, which is 3.1. And I'll stop here for this recording, and I'll have a separate recording for 3.2. And please email me if you have any questions.